Right now, a student entering the workforce has to navigate over 3,000 possible occupations, spread across roughly 180 distinct career paths. Choosing the wrong educational track early on creates a heavy financial and professional anchor. Beyond the immediate loss of tuition, a misstep often stalls earning potential for years and leads to significant emotional burnout. Let's plot these educational choices on a quadrant chart. On the bottom, the stakes of the decision. On the side, complexity. Decisions like choosing an engineering branch, a study abroad program, or a mid-career pivot all cluster aggressively in the high-stakes, high-complexity top right corner. Destiny planners built their entire service model around managing the anxiety of this specific corner. They operate as an educational aggregator. Instead of going to one place for psychometric testing, another for career counseling, and a third to enroll in a degree program, they bring all those functions under one roof. Which brings us to a very practical question. Is it worth paying an agency to structure your educational roadmap, or are you better off doing the research and applying directly yourself? To answer that, we have to evaluate their offerings across 3 distinct stages of life: K-12 parents, recent graduates, and mid-career professionals. Because a highly structured, stress-relieving roadmap for an anxious parent might actually turn into a restrictive bottleneck for a professional who likes to steer their own ship. Let's start with the first group, parents of K-12 students. These are the people currently staring down the intense pressure of national entrance exams like JEE and NEET. The process here begins by putting a child, sometimes as early as the 2nd grade, through a proprietary 5-dimensional career assessment. This decision tree filters the input, outputting a 22-page career report and AI college shortlisting. It generates a decade-long execution plan, mapping exactly what stream a student should select in 10th grade, all the way to a 12th grade college admission prediction score. This level of detail provides an immediate psychological reprieve for parents. By turning a decade of educational decisions into a scheduled sequence of milestones, the service replaces the friction of guesswork with a concrete strategy. But that level of structure comes with a risk: premature pigeonholing. Charting highly specific, rigid career milestones for a 7-year-old based on a single assessment assumes a child's interests won't evolve organically over the next 10 years. Destiny Planners does include sessions on effective stress coping techniques for exam anxiety. However, locking a student into a long-term, meticulously tracked academic plan introduces its own kind of early pressure. For parents, this service is a clear trade. You give up the freedom of unstructured childhood exploration in exchange for the security of a defined, predictable academic roadmap. Now let's look at the second demographic, the overwhelmed graduate looking for immediate job placement or an international master's degree. Job seekers get routed into their campus-to-corporate AI platform, which analyzes their soft skills, runs a SWOT analysis, and structures their resume. For international students, Destiny Planners steps in as a consultant to process visas and manage applications across institutions in Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, and Oceania. The advantage is logistical. They drastically reduce the administrative burden, the friction of chasing down paperwork, and the anxiety of managing a dozen different application deadlines. But relying on a third-party consultancy introduces a structural trade-off: the institutional network limit. Look at this comparison matrix. Educational agencies streamline the application process by steering students toward partner universities. The agency route maximizes your efficiency and probability of acceptance, but shrinks the pool of available destinations to that curated network. The same logic applies to their AI job tools. You receive standardized soft skills training and highly optimized templates, rather than a highly customized, bespoke approach to building a personal brand. Graduates taking this path are trading the exhaustive, open market freedom of doing it themselves for a highly managed, streamlined process that stays within a specific lane. Finally, we reach the third group: time-poor professionals and people returning from a sabbatical who need flexible upskilling. For this demographic, Destiny Planners facilitates enrollment into partnered online university programs, including institutions like Amity, Jane, and Sandeep University. The main draw here is flexibility. You earn an accredited degree from home while leaning on Destiny Planners' one-on-one counselor support to stay on track. But it forces a critical question. If you know you want an online degree, why use a third-party agency instead of just applying directly through a university's own portal? We can weigh these options on a scale. On one side, you acquire curated convenience and bundled support. On the other, you forfeit access to the broader market of elite, direct-to-consumer university programs. The reality of the market is that top-tier direct-to-consumer programs rarely partner with third-party aggregators to handle their enrollment. So this path really only makes sense for professionals who prioritize guided execution and checking the accreditation box over prestige hunting in the wider open market. When you strip away the marketing, the core mechanism of Destiny Planners is simple. It is an organizational tool. It is a management layer for education. Enrollment via an agency is a purchase of structure, accountability, and consolidated access. It is a roadmap for the process, rather than a guarantee for the career itself. To figure out where you stand, let's map this out on a final scorecard. We'll split this into ideal matches and suboptimal fits. The first ideal match goes to overwhelmed parents who need concrete, mapped-out entrance exam strategies for their older K-12 students. Also in the ideal column, graduates who are intimidated by the sheer volume of international study paperwork, and professionals who want a curated online degree without having to vet institutions from scratch. On the suboptimal side, we have highly self-directed students. If you are willing and capable of doing your own exhaustive collegiate research, an agency will only limit your options. Joining them are professionals seeking top-tier direct admissions and parents who prefer fluid early childhood exploration over early career analysis. Look closely at your exact stage of life. If you are drowning in complexity, it might be time to hire an architect. But if you know where you want to go, you might be entirely ready to build the roadmap yourself.